Central Province has about 30,000 square kilometers of land from the mountains to the coast in the southeastern part of Papua New Guinea, divided into 4 electorates, Abau, Rigo, Kairuku-Hiri and Goilala, which are represented in Parliament through the respective district MPs. The central governor makes it 5 parliamentary representatives for the province.
While the Prime Minister is here, I also want to thank the Prime Minister and the Basil government. And that's for recognizing Central Province. You know, when I got into Parliament, one of the first things I fought for was our identity. As a people, as a group of people in Papua New Guinea, it is very, very important for us to uphold our identity, because that's what drives passion and pride in ourselves as people. We Central Province people, we have to be very proud of ourselves. We must never be ashamed of ourselves. And our identity is very, very important. How we drive our province, how we build our economy is all part of building that passion and that pride in ourselves. And you will see that every time we go to Moresby, we always feel like strangers in Moresby. We don't have a market in Moresby, so our people are frustrated at the markets. We are harassed at the markets. And we are treated like outcasts in Port Moresby.
Among its struggle of being seen as not having a capital city of its own outside Port Moresby, and even without a provincial hospital over many decades since independence, current Central Governor Robert Agarobe says people from Central Province have also been struggling to find their identity in Port Moresby in recent years, in which history says the city was the capital of British Papua and eventually Australian colonisation prior to PNG gaining self-government in 1973 and independence in 1975. As a result, there have been various Papuan groups in Port Moresby fighting for Papua to be separate from New Guinea, with claims of it being the 7th state of Australia by law. However, this has been an uphill battle for those involved.
Well, last month or early this month, when we had the last assembly sitting, the previous one, together with the Prime Minister and our Basil government, we were able to amend some laws in NCD. And with the change of these laws now, what rightfully belongs to us, the Central Province people, we will now get directly paid to Central Province, especially our GST.
Governor Agarobe and NCD Governor Poes Pakop have been at loggerheads in recent times over Port Moresby city land and revenue from the National Capital District's goods and services tax. In the November sitting of Parliament this year, Governor Agarobe tabled a private member's bill to amend relevant legislation to allow Central Province to receive 10% of NCD GST, an increase of 5% from previous legislation. There was heated debate on the bill from both sides of the House before it was passed, with a vast majority of MPs supporting the bill.
Many are legacies, and some of them are legitimate issues. But the important thing for us to remember is, should this issue be solved by our capital city? This is what we all should remember in debating and maybe voting on these proposed amendments. As I see it, all the concerns that the governor has should be have oversight by the particular portfolio minister. If it is finance, the treasury and the finance minister should have oversight over this. So they try to have balance, work it out. What is in the national interest? What is in the interest of the Central Province? And how we can marry them together. If it is about governance, this is something that the Minister for Intergovernment should have oversight and not come in this way, which I could say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is a bit of a piecemeal way, trying to solve a very important issue that has been historical, a lot of legacy.
Mr. Speaker, over the years, my people have been reduced to almost nothing in terms of human dignity, where we walk around with fear and feel like strangers. My people are harassed, murdered, and raped on our own land. and denied our human rights as enshrined in our mother law, our constitution. Mr. Speaker, Central Province has been fighting to be given a fair share of the GST revenue collected in the city since independence and since 2004, when the laws were amended. Mr. Speaker, in addition to the amendments regarding the GST, the bill proposes amendments to the governance structure of the National Capital District Commission. This puts back the power in the proper governing authority, which is the board of the National Capital District Commission, and not in any single member of the board. As a major contributor and stakeholder in the National Capital District, Central Province has the right and standing to introduce this bill to improve the governance of the city of Port Moresby.
The two governors knows, Mr. Speaker, I convened a few meetings. I asked for this matter not to go to court as early on in this year. And on one side, central provincial government tells me that, Mr. Prime Minister, you talk about NCDC haven't been giving us our money for the early part of this year because the matter is in court. So because of the court matter, I can frustrate the mandate of provincial government, whose Governor Grobe has his absolute right to secure mandate from and pursue what is best in the Central Provincial Assembly's view.
We are setting a bad precedent, Mr. Speaker. Whilst we acknowledge that people of Gulf and Central Province travel in and out of Port Moresby is still the city of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Speaker. It's the city of Papua New Guinea. Now you can find there are more Papua New Guineans living in Port Moresby city than the rest of Gulf and Central Province. Papua New Guineans have moved into city in Port Moresby to generate income, generate tax for the city. City tax should be collected by the governor of the city, by the NCDC Council, to continue to improve the city. If we support this bill, we're going to set a precedence for lay. If there's a lay city council collecting tax in lay, you and Gulf will come and ask for tax.
This amendment to the NCDC Act is necessary. It is a necessary act because of some of the injustices which seem to be happening. Because past leaders made some decisions which serves specific purposes. And this is the time to start correcting those mistakes. Now, and this amendment is, to my mind, is well overdue. You see, because specifically Section 33 of the NCDC Act, where it talks about GST sharing. And what we see is this GST is not being shared equitably, equally, in a fair way. So that is the reason why this amendment to Section 33 of the NCDC Act brings more clarity and leaves no doubt in anybody's mind. Because
anti-protesters marched in the nation's capital the next day, calling for a repeal and review of the bill which was passed in Parliament, going in support of NCD Governor Powes Pakop. However, no action was taken upon this. Karukuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo has also been vocal in recent Parliament sittings regarding the Hivaso concept, which hinges on land issues between Central Province and NCD.
The famous Hivaso concept that people want to, or leaders want to play politics on. If the minister can clarify whether or not this is a government policy by his department for Greater Port Moresby, or is it a concept they have, and whether or not the administration of it will be by his department to oversee, or the delegated functions now to Central Provincial Government.
Neighbouring Gulf Province has had similar challenges, with Governor Chris Haiveta showing support for the bill put forward by the Central Governor during parliamentary debate.
I want to ask my colleague, the Governor, why have you not been implementing the law? Why have you not been implementing the law? NCDC members who are on this floor, why have you not been implementing the law? That is my question to all of you. This bill is not about changing any big laws. No, the law is already in existence.
One of the downsides of Central Province having the struggle for identity is that tangible development in the province has been slow, with income streams very minimal and the people missing out heavily on key basic services like education, health, tourism, law and order, and physical infrastructure like roads, bridges, jetties, wharves and markets, despite being in the vicinity of the capital Port Moresby, which houses the government decision-making bodies. With Central Province now expected to benefit from the 10% GST from NCD, it is expected this will generate about 3 million kina a month in revenue for the province outside of other government funding allocations it receives each year.
So one thing you must know about how funds come into the province is very, very important. You will see that we just passed our national budget. What comes down from the budget through the government through functional grants is fixed. It's tight budget. I have no say on this money. But I do have a say on our internal revenue. So with our development agendas we have in the province, I need internal revenue to drive these agendas. So going out and looking for what rightfully belongs to us and getting that paid rightfully to us was one of the tasks I had. And the GST that NCDC was withholding was one of those internal revenue that was lacking all this time. It was never paid to us. But now that the GST will pay directly to us, we will be getting an additional 3 million every month into the province.
Under the Marape Basil government's plan to build provincial hospitals around the country, with lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic so far, Central Province has been chosen to be one of the initial beneficiaries of this plan, and the launching of the new provincial hospital was done at Bautama last month, paving the way for the province's first official and fully functional hospital since its establishment. In past years, Central Province people have been mainly receiving health services, particularly for specialist care, at Port Moresby General Hospital, the country's largest referral hospital. On the backdrop of previous major projects in Central Province like the Central City project at Bautama failing to be completed or implemented successfully in past years, the people of Central Province hope for current and future major projects to be completed well for the progress of the province given increased income streams now.